Going back to Mike Adams, one of the leading alternative health experts out there, very respected, recapping what you were covering with the 2010 flu hoax, maybe we should briefly look at the 2009, and then that miscarriage information. We're trying to save some lives here. Then we'll shift gears into the UN angle of the food enslavement bill.
Sure. Well, you got to realize that the drug companies, the vaccine manufacturers, they have to fabricate an emergency every year in order to try to get people to take these shots. And so this year, that has failed for the most part. People were not getting vaccinated. People learned their lesson from last year. You know, the big swine flu hoax crashed and burned. And also, people who didn't take the shot, who instead took vitamin D and who took superfoods like your sponsor, Enerfood, and other good foods out there, and who took care of their health, they were fine. They didn't get sick. And a lot of them woke up and they realized, gee, we don't need the vaccines. We're going to be healthier without it. So now, because their propaganda is failing, they have to push it. And that's what they're doing now in the UK. They're pushing it. There are a couple hundred people in the hospitals who are suffering from swine flu, and they're saying everybody needs to get vaccinated. Now they're saying we've got to revisit the vaccinations for children under 5 years old, because they pulled those vaccines previously for children under 5 in their National Health Service because of the potential risks. But now they're saying, well, because of this pandemic breaking out, we got to vaccinate all those kids. And in the U.S., as you hinted, they're now saying we got to vaccinate pregnant women, too, so that their children can be, quote, protected. And by the way, I also saw an article recently saying that they're promoting chemotherapy for pregnant women, saying it's safe to have chemo even when you have a child inside you. This is medical insanity. I mean, how many?
Well, they're setting the precedent. They're setting the precedent to get away with mass murder, and they know what they're doing. They're turning health purely into a death camp, a eugenics camp, as Ted Turner and Bill Gates have admitted. I mean, they mean business. And for those that don't know, I remember just a few years ago, it always said in the inserts, and I've had medical doctors on that have pointed this out, that you never give a pregnant woman a vaccine because they know it causes autoimmune inflammation, not just in the brain, but in the fetus, and triggers massive increases in miscarriages. This time they said women who have babies in their uterus, you're the one that really needs this. I mean, what an outrageous thing they did. And I've seen it. The only country to be admitting it is Australia, where they're admitting this is causing the death of babies.
Well, what's astonishing in all this, if you look across the government bureaucracy, and you know, you had Rand Paul on a couple of weeks ago talking about how these bureaucrats create laws themselves, essentially by creating regulations. They're unelected, but they create regulations like the FDA and the TSA and the DEA and so on. These government bodies, they just blatantly lie. They don't even care about telling the truth. They don't even care if they're caught in a lie. They just keep lying because most people keep buying it. So they throw out the evidence of harm for vaccines. You know, the TSA tries to dismiss any of these complaints about, you know, people reaching down their pants and so on. They say, oh, it's for your own good. I mean, you've been all over that issue, so you know what I'm talking about. But every agency now is just running rampant across our freedoms and across the Constitution. And now with the food safety bill, which I know we're going to talk about here, our food is at risk. They want to control our food. They want to reach into our refrigerators the same way the TSA has been reaching down our pants. That's what's happened. That's what's coming our way now in 2011.
Incredible. Let's get into the Homeland Security tie-in. It was admitted, even in the Wall Street Journal, a record $12 million given in the month of November to get the House to pass the draconian takeover. The $12 million was given completely by mega agribusiness to shut down their competitions. Let's go over it.
All right, well, let's set the frame here for your listeners. The bill proponents said that this is all about food safety. We're going to save 5,000 lives a year. You know, the FDA is a good agency. It's going to protect your food and protect your children and so on. Well, what they didn't tell you is, for example, did you know that E. coli, according to the CDC itself, only kills about 82 Americans a year through food transmission. 82 people. More people are killed by lightning in America than are killed by E. coli. And yet they made this into a big scare story. And that's a CDC statistic, by the way. You can see it right on the government website. And then they hid things in the bill, things that are just now starting to come out. I've been reading this bill, Alex, going through it with a fine-tooth comb, because you know how crazy these bills can get where you have to reference this section and delete that phrase from that paragraph. They're really hard to read. But if you get to this and you actually read it, it turns out that this bill says that the FDA has to put forth, quote, recommendations on whether and how to harmonize requirements under Codex Alimentarius.
It's right there. The open world government standardization. This is, well, I mean, when you see the food safety bill, it's what's in Codex Alimentarius. It's global standardization. Now they're not even denying that. They're openly trying to bring us under this world government to shut down local farms and ranches because people are discovering that we're being poisoned intentionally through the GMO. People are getting the Rockefeller Foundation documents about vaccines having sterilants added. It's all coming out. And as the UN said in the 1996 Food Summit in Beijing, China, they would use food as a weapon. They are using it as a weapon. So it is our duty to start eating non-GMO. It's our duty to start gardens. It's our duty, even if they pass this, to literally rebel. And they're setting up the SWAT teams, everything. They're SWAT teaming the Amish to grow those tomatoes and then let them try to arrest you and further discredit these hordes of demons they've recruited.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most patriotic thing that you could do, perhaps, right now, is to grow your own food and sell it at a local farmer's market. Sell it to your neighbors. Sell it to your community members. You know, grow some honest tomatoes and just sell them. And this is what the government precisely doesn't want you to do. And that's why they've created all of this dark globalist language in this bill. Let me give you some other examples.
Well, stay there. We're going to come back and hit this. We've got to go to break. But think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 1930s, Stalin couldn't crush the poor farmers. He wanted to collectivize them, like Mao later did and killed 60-plus million people. So he said you can't grow your own gardens anymore and starved 30-plus million people to death. I mean, they're not playing games. These are hardcore criminals. We'll be right back.